our organization for tonight. I'm so excited to welcome and warm up the stage for Laura Whitmore of the Women's International Music Network. I turn it over to you.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey guys. Woo! Thanks for coming out. We got some badass women to bring on stage tonight. I'm Laura Whitmore. I'm the founder of the Women's International Music Network and the She Rocks Awards. I know some of you have joined us at the She Rocks Awards. We've got the next one coming up January 25th in Anaheim, California. I can't tell you who's being honored, but it's going to be awesome as always. If you want to follow us, it's free. We don't charge for membership. You can find out more about us on thewomen.com. It's THEWIMN.com. And on all the socials, all the places. Before I bring people out, I just want to thank Live Nation for hosting us in this amazing space. Awesome. And it's so nice to see a company that's so supportive. I want to thank Music Forward Foundation and Narit Siegel-Smith for helping us make this happen. There she is up there. Yes. Love her. We Nation, Music Nation's women's organization. So great to see that. Thank you for the support. I want to thank the Recording Academy for supporting us. I want to thank also a great supporter of ours who's here tonight, Lisa Johnson. Always awesome, always supportive. Okay, so we have a raffle tonight. All the proceeds go towards helping us fund events like this. And there's some really great prizes, including Spark Go from Positive Grid, which is a little guitar amp and Bluetooth speaker. We've got some She Rocks VIP gift bag, which is pretty rare and hard to get. I'm surprised we even have one. A Monster Energy Bluetooth speaker and some gorgeous skincare products from Formula and Prescott. So get your tickets. We're going to give the raffle away in between the panel and the performance, because tonight we're going to do this panel of these incredible songwriters, and then they're going to play some of their own songs. So we're going to do the panel. We request that you tone it down while we're doing that. Then we're going to take a break while we reset the stage. You can get another drink, whatever, and then we'll have a performance, and it'll be an amazing evening. So I am going to finish up so we can get these ladies out here. All right, guys, I'm going to introduce the panel. Our moderator and panelist for tonight is, I consider her a friend. She is awesome. If you don't know her, you should. Please welcome AIJIA. All right, and then we're going to bring out, I don't know, if you don't know MILCK, another incredible performer you should know. I cry every time I hear her music. Welcome. Okay, let's bring out Judith Hill, incredible multi-instrumentalist, performer, writer. I'm getting chills. And last but certainly not least, the wonderful and amazing Christina Perri.
What's up, everyone? We are so thrilled that you guys came tonight. Can we just give some more noise for these ladies that we have? I'm so grateful to Live Nation, to the women, to Laura, to everyone at She Rocks. This is a beautiful little brainchild that we have been stewing on, hoping that we can make this a regular thing where we showcase incredible women in the music industry, what they're doing, what their process was. I know that for some of us, it can feel like there is not a clear trajectory or plan or like a homework assignment that we can follow. And so I think we gotta get together, get in the same room, and share our stories and our process with each other and figure out how we move this thing forward. How do we make more of us? And how do we all move forward? So I'm so grateful for you all to be here.
Thank you. Woo! Give it up for AIJIA.
So how this is gonna go is I came up with some questions.
Cool. I didn't read them.
Some of them are things that I would want to know 10 years ago. Some of them are things that I want to know your answers because I have seen you women be a model for how to be in this industry and how to navigate your way through all these weird little roads that we go down. So just answer as you feel you want to.
Thank you.
Do you want to start, Milk?
Yeah.
Okay, great. What is some advice that you would give to someone passionate about songwriting, but unsure of what steps to take to turn that into reality? Like, where do we begin? What is step one?
All right, that's a great question. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here. I would say community is such a great way to start. If you are thinking like, hey, I think this is what I want to do with my life, even introducing yourself as I'm a songwriter, and just even letting yourself say that, like introducing yourself, just full on, just own it. Knowing that there's a lot that you still need to learn, just owning that title and moving forward. And then knowing that, I think it's like the one thing I'd say is that this is gonna be one of many songs. And just having that mantra when you're stuck on a song, it's like, it's okay, this will be one of many songs. Yeah, those are that's the start. I think that's like a good appetizer, yeah.
All right, Judith, so what are your tips for someone getting started as a songwriter?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what you're saying. I think that the beautiful world of songwriting is just so many colors and ways that you can be a songwriter. I think really determining what's your passion, what direction you want to go. Like for me, I absolutely love writing songs for my band, creating songs and arrangements that I can perform live. But there's a huge world of songwriting for film and TV, and just letting it become a way of life. You know, you just being able to storytell, and it's like showing up every day. The more you write, the more it just flows out of you, and you never know which one's gonna hit. So you just enjoy every song, every process of it, and it really does kind of give you life when you're writing. It just feeds back into you.
All right, Christina.
That's really good.
But also I want a practical tip.
Okay.
But give me all your answers. Give me a practical tip too.
Okay. So if you are a creative, right? Does it have to be songwriter? Is everyone here songwriters?
No, everybody's creative.
Creative, right? In any way? Okay, well, I just like to think back to like me at 15, like when I decided I was a songwriter, and like the best part is like I didn't really decide it, I just started doing it. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure in trying to like identify yourself as something. If you enjoy writing songs, then write fucking songs. If you want to paint. You know, like live your life and like do the thing that makes you feel like you're creating and like you're being true to who you are and what you want to make. And then my biggest thing is like do what scares you. I think if playing a show scares the shit out of you, go play a show. And like it's so hard because like Asia and I we have kids, and I have two little girls, and my oldest is always like afraid to do gymnastics or afraid to show up at school for a thing, and I'm just like, we got to do what scares us, like just show up and do it anyway. And then I can literally say like, hey, like performing makes me want to throw up, and I do it anyway. So like I think since a young age, like I just did things that I was like afraid of that made me feel really nauseous and like unable to eat. And then I was like, oh, that's the thing I'm supposed to do. That was my sign. So is that practical?
Yes. If you feel nauseous, you should probably do that.
If you feel unwell, that's your destiny.
I think also one thing that I am always reminding myself is I'm supposed to get up and write a song. I'm not supposed to get up and write a good song. I'm not supposed to get up and write a good song.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to get up and be the best writer in the world or in the room. That's all on Monday at 9 a.m. or whatever. I write a song. And I just do that as a day job.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree, all of us, I'm curious of your opinion, that like all the people that have become very successful at what they do, like I don't want to say any level of success because I feel like success means something different for everyone, but if you've achieved what you really wanted to achieve, those people that we know in the industry that have that, wouldn't you say none of them saw it coming? Like they worked really hard, they had the artwork or the art or the songs or the movie or the book or whatever, but like nobody knows the second it's gonna happen. So you can't really prepare for it, but if you're desperate for it to happen, I feel like it doesn't. There's a balance, I feel like, of just creating what you like, what you want to do, who you want to be, aligning with your truth. Oh my God, it sounds so crunchy, I'm so sorry.
I love it, crunch away.
Align with your truth. And then, but then you will, like, you might become the most successful in your field when you stop trying so hard to be the most successful in your field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off that because what you just said was when we want it too much, it doesn't happen because like we're in our head. And there's like this really amazing mantra that I hold with my creative process. It doesn't just have to be for songwriting, but phase one is to create like a child, and it's fun. It's a lot of times physical, not thinking too much, just vibing. Phase two is to edit refine like a scientist. But that's phase two. And sometimes I think as early writers, after you've written song one, song two, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna write a song, and then we're in our heads. And also on the laptop, it's really easy to activate the head. Yeah. So if you get away from the laptop, kind of dance, make a little beat, and then the flow and the childlikeness comes out, and you can then
it's your spirit.
Yeah, the spirit, beautiful. Yeah, and then you can refine that later. Like those thoughts come later. So what you're saying about those successful people, they're able to like play and be childlike.
Yeah. The critic is not invited to the first phase. Like you're not supposed to be critiquing as you're coming up with the thing because it's a hindrance to the...
Yeah, the critic's not really invited.
No.
Right, they say the madman. I've heard a similar thing I'm going to share with, I think it was a screenwriter who told someone who told someone who told someone who told me, but that the four phases really exist, like, and what you said, child or spirit, but another word for it is the madman. You're supposed to create in that, like, very unencumbered, uninhibited, space of being the madman or the child. And then you can be the architect and be like, okay, this is a song.
Yes.
Okay, it might be like this order. Then you're the carpenter. You build it. You build the track. You record it. You get the paint. You do, whatever it is. And then you're the judge. And you're not allowed to be the judge until you're done being the madman, the architect, and the carpenter.
I love that. Yeah.
Pretty cool, right? I didn't make that up. But it's really helpful. Like, I really thought that in my day-to-day life. Like, oh shit, I'm really being a judge. I'm ruining this.
Right.
Like, we do that in songwriting sessions. Like, I don't know, the second, like, all of a sudden it's like awkward silence and you're like, I'm the worst songwriter of all time, I should just leave. Yeah. And then it's like, I'm judging it now. Like, you know what I mean? It's you can't. I would say like, thank you so much for your thoughts, but you're not invited.
Yeah.
But like being aware of that, right? I feel like is important.
There's the last phase, and I forgot the third, so let's make it the fifth, because I like this combo. Thank you for that. The fifth phase is to surrender like a warrior, and to allow whatever happens with it to just happen.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it's hard.
Surrender.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I love that answer. Okay, I'm going to piggyback off this first question, but how do you know when you're a songwriter? Like, are you just walking down the street one day and you're like, I'm going to call myself a songwriter? I know that for me personally, I also produce, and it's been a really hard, long journey to be like, I'm a producer. I feel like I have to be the best producer on planet Earth to be able to just say that sentence.
Woo.
What? Why? Where is that coming from?
Pack that? Yeah.
So how does one who is a songwriter or a producer or a creative, what are the steps, Judith, tell me, how do you come about the process of going, I'm gonna claim this thing because this is what I'm supposed to do? Like, how is that for you?
I think for me, it just goes to like the deep spiritual calling in your life when you know that you're on this planet to give your songs to the world. And you kind of, it's not like a career mindset, it's more of like a deep calling, like one of the things that's super powerful for me is like when I'm writing a song and people come up to me and say, thank you for that song got me through this really hard time. And that's like when you're reminded of like, if I was only writing for that one person, I did my job because that was a powerful moment for that person. So the way we like are like looking at the metrics differently from like, you know, all of the kind of career based, but just being like, I'm gonna show up in life, I'm going to make my statement, and I have faith believing that me doing this is going to resonate with someone out there. I think that that's like a huge driving force for me as a songwriter. Because like I'm long gone, my song still lives. It'll still be there for somebody 50 years from now, 100 years from now. So it's a very powerful calling when you write a song, you know, and it's like reminding yourself of that in a climate like this where business and commerce is just all over the place, and you just like remind yourself like how powerful it is as a human being to write that. Because what's that gonna be like 100 years from now? People are like dusting it off and they're hearing that, and that's very powerful, you know.
Amen to that.
May I comment?
Go.
So I feel like you saying I'm a producer and having the fear to say that is like, I feel like it's imposter syndrome. Yes. Right? Because it's not actually true. Like if you're a producer, if you're producing music physically, you're a producer. Right? So it's just that part of you, and I don't know if that's like a feminine thing, you know, because we have to learn to be loud and brave. Oh yeah. Okay.
No, but yes, keep
I'm
going.
just saying, like, I just want to acknowledge that because you are a fucking producer. You know? Because you are. So when you think that, like, oh, I can't say that, you know, like, I love you, like you are. You know? Don't listen to that voice.
Okay, I won't.
Okay.
Go home and do another like logic session by myself. Okay, on this topic,
Yes.
on the feminine, can you share, we'll start with you this time. Can you share a pivotal moment in your career where embracing your unique feminine perspective gave you an edge or opened doors that might not have been open had you not been like, I'm gonna play my feminine moment here because that's what I'm bringing?
Dang. I gotta think about this.
Side note, I have one that I think you did.
Oh, I love that.
Do you want to answer the question, Maria?
Sure, if you want. Well, here's what I'm saying.
You answer first.
I want to hear what yours is. But I think, well, it's such, what do I want to say? Okay, this is my 14th year being a recording artist. Maybe I'll start with that. So I was thank you. I was a songwriter since I was 15. I'd identify as a singer since I was 3. But like as a like professional job, you know, where I got paid to do it for the very first time, it was 14 years ago. And so I feel like 14 years ago, it was way more dudes than there are now, right? I'm just saying it's a fact. It's so much more feminine now, and I love it, and I'm happy for all of us. But back then in 2010, it really was, you know, I'm given a list of songwriters, and every single songwriter was a guy. Like I had to go out of my way to ask to write with women, and I had to go out of my way to like tell my record label, hey, I'm not gonna wear that. Like that's like, cause they were like, well, you should wear this. You know, like things, so for me, it wasn't even like a conscious decision that I was like, I'm gonna use my femininity. I just was like, hey, I know who I am, I know what I want. I'm not gonna do what you want me to do, which is to be, you know, either more like a guy, like be tougher, or to be like sexy. And I was like, no, I'm good. And so I didn't choose that path, truthfully. And I really am proud of myself now that I'm a mom and I have daughters. Like I think back to 2010 when like I could have, and believe me, I'm not also shaming anyone who's super sexy, that's awesome. I didn't feel like I wanted to express myself that way. And so when I had the opportunity to do it, I just stayed true to just like my little emo, you know, jar hearts, you know, blonde streak, combat boot wearing, like, you know, I just owned it. I was like, this is who I am. And I actually credit my mom, my grandmother. That feels feminine to me, to be like, hey, you guys are all, you know, powerful men, and you're all telling me to like be a certain way, dress a certain way, sound a certain way, and thank you, but no thank you.
Yes.
What's yours? I'm scared.
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing that you did in not your last record, but the record before. Was there a record before?
Sure.
You made a very strong stance that you were like, I only want to write with women
Oh, yeah.
on this record, and nobody had in this history of anything has ever said that. And I think
I did. I said it.
she was like, I want to write with only women and women producers, and that's what I want to do. And I remember hearing a guy in our sphere go like, well, that's not fair. And I was like, well, you have you're like, it's always guys. She's making a choice that for this record, she just had a baby.
Yeah.
She wants to be all in her like woman juices.
Yeah. Motherhood is a whole other thing.
And she wants to write with other women who understand her perspective right now,
Yeah.
or feminine energy that like gets where she's at.
Yeah.
So she can do the hell she wants to do.
Yes, I did do that. I'm very proud of that decision, but I also did that like way later in my career where I
Correct.
could. So I feel like in 2010, I could not have requested that. But I do think I made decisions throughout my career that by the time that I was making my third album, my record label was like, you know, happy to explore my ideas. I feel like I had to sort of earn that a bit, but I did. I only wrote with women and only had women producers and mixers, masters, engineers, the whole thing. Yeah,
They're there.
Yeah, not many people know that. My album, A Lighter Shade of Blue, which came out when I was pregnant, it was like 2 years ago now. It's all women, so I'm really proud of it.
Judith, is there a pivotal moment for you where you were like, I'm gonna do something counter to, I'm gonna play my feminine card in this way, and it feels like rebellious or true to myself? It's also okay if there's like, if you're like, I didn't have a moment, I do that every day.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple. I think they might be connected. In college, I chose to study music composition, like composing for orchestras, and I was the only girl in it was all composers back then, it was like all men, and so I'm grateful that I did that, because writing for strings and doing all that orchestration is something I was just deeply passionate about, and to be able to do your own arrangements for your songs later on just became just such a blessing. And then the second thing, I don't know if it's connected, but stepping away from the major label in a pivotal time in my career where we were honestly just the A&R department had me just basically chasing after the radio, writing the song, and I was terribly unhappy. I stepped away from it and really decided I wanted to make music that was funky, soulful, and driven by like live music, and I was gonna ride into the sunset doing that. And so that was like the best decision I made, because that's what I do now as a living. I just love it, you know. But that was a huge pivotal step to be like, yo, I'm going to follow my heart and do all of the things myself as a woman, and not wait for an A&R department to tell me which song I need to sing.
Yes. I love that. All right, Milk, what you got? Is there a moment?
Yeah, there was
I had like many moments, but
I think we all have so many of those moments. I think for me it was, I think it's really also tied my experience of what femininity is supposed to be from the outside. These expectations that were put on me are also intertwined with my heritage. So also it kind of intertwines with my cultural background, and finding a way to step away from those expectations. Like, it was a traditional expectation of like, you know, be beautiful in a traditional way, be thin, have like, you know, just be appealing in all those ways so a man will want you and then he can take care of you for your life. And so the act of creating my artist name MILCK, which is my last name backwards and my first two initials, I wanted to take what my parents gave me but free myself from it and then turn it into my own thing. So then Lim, M-I-L, I turned that backwards, and C-K, Connie Kimberly. And it was like, I was able to bring my, thanks Doug. That's my friend, by the way. I just plant friends, so clap for me. But yeah, so that was a move, and I also love that MILCK is what nourishes the next generation, and that's what the feminine divine does, regardless of gender. And then going through my journey of telling myself maybe I did. There was a question I asked myself, like, do I deserve? Could life be bigger, better than this that I have now? And that audacity to ask myself is actually the same force that makes a rosebud, I think, because it was like, oh, I think there's something else. And I followed that, and that led me down the path of forgiving myself for my assault and forgiving myself for all the things I didn't say. And then I wrote Quiet with Adrienne Gonzalez, who I think we've all worked with, AIJIA. And
Shout out to AG,
yeah, shout out to AIJIA.
another badass female producer.
And she was one of the first people who looked at me in the eyes and said, I have no doubt about you, I believe in you. And it just opened my world. And then that song Quiet then became an anthem for myself to forgive myself of all the clutchings of the feminine, like that cage we can forget to fly out of. And then it was like being able to get out. It was really...
Love that. I didn't know that history by her name. That's really deliberate and just beautiful, and a reclamation. I just respect that. Okay. How do we overcome creative blocks? Are there any like factual things that you're like, oh my gosh, when I overcome the creative block, this is my process. This is the weird thing I do. Go.
Okay. The Elizabeth Gilbert TED Talk on creativity. Does everybody here know it? We were just talking about it backstage. You guys know it. Yeah.
You must go on YouTube and look up this TED Talk.
Yeah, but here's the thing. First of all, it was like one of the first TED Talks, I feel like. Now it became almost like a meme, like, welcome to my TED Talk. But like, this was like one of the best, I think, one of the most watched TED Talks of all time. But the thing I want to say is, for practical advice, I genuinely watch it whenever I'm feeling uninspired. So I don't think there's like it's one and done. I think watch it, hear what you hear. If you're stuck, watch it again. If you're stuck, watch it again. I hear something different every time I watch that, and I couldn't recommend it more.
Summarize it really quick.
Oh my God.
Give me a cliff notes of the TED Talk.
Okay. So it's her, basically it's the history of creativity and her point of view of what happened and how we as people, we get obsessed with winning, or we get so sad when we lose. But that is assuming that we are the genius. We are what's winning. We are what's losing. Like we are the art. We are the song. We are the.
And she also talks about the etymology of the word genius.
Yes.
Right? So like the word
the
itself.
construct. Yes. The whole thing's amazing. I'm summarizing.
Yes.
But it's like the having the space between you and the success or failure of your art is the safest place for you to be to make that art.
Yeah,
right?
like the genius comes through you.
Yeah.
It's not
Of you.
Of you.
Yeah. Right? 'Cause then it's not all your success. You're not the shit if it all works out, but you're also not a failure if it doesn't. And that protects you from losing your mind, maybe. And it says that most, artists we tend to be alcoholic, depressive. We feel so much. We can't sometimes handle how big our life gets or how small. So this is I think it's more about safety with being creative, so you don't feel like you are your craft.
Right. And it can be the genius or whatever, but it's also the muse, the flow, when you're like when you lock into that zone where like everything is lining up and I know what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
But it's not coming from you. It's coming from wherever it's coming from, and you're just translating it.
Yeah.
And also, that's so nice because it like, oh, okay.
No, you go.
I was gonna say depersonalizes it. Like all we do is our responsibility is to just show up, and then sometimes the idea comes down this way and meets you.
Yeah,
And
but
that's-
sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. It can't come every time, every day, all day, every day. So you write and write and write and hope it shows up.
There's somebody said this quote, and I'm gonna butcher it, but I don't even know who it was, so I can't quote them. But
It was you. You said
it was me. No, it definitely did not come from me. But there's this quote about how if you feel that you're supposed to make some type of art, right? Like say you're a painter and you're like, I'm supposed to paint. The first time you go to paint, it's going to suck. It is just fact because you're learning and you're at the beginning of your 10,000 hours that you got to put in to get better. But the thing about artists is that you have a desire to paint because you have good taste in artwork. So reframing this idea that like, oh, I want to be a really good songwriter because I have really good taste in what is good. And now I just have to get my skill level to the same level as my taste.
Wow.
And that is really hard to do. So if you give up in the period where your skill is just trying to meet your exquisite taste in music, you've left before the game has begun.
Yeah. Cool.
Well said.
I have a question. What was the name of the first song that you guys wrote? Whoa. What is it?
God is made for me. I was 4. It was a gospel
All right,
song.
we got a
Mine's
loyal
very
fan.
similar.
I love that.
Mine is similar. It's called The Perfect Man for Me.
I think mine was No More Running.
Oh my God, that's so deep. Hell yeah.
Mine
Asia?
was Santa Ana Wins. Because I grew up here.
Kylie girl, for sure. I love that.
Wow, this
Very
is so much about all of us.
About none of my life experience that I've experienced. Okay, cool.
I also just
Oh.
the taste thing you
Yes.
said is so important, especially like we're gonna get more and more into the art of curation, right? I don't even want to say this, but it is in the world, so we're gonna face it with courage. But AI is here, and to understand how to use some of that, to use or not to use, it's up to everybody. But the art of curation and taste, honoring what feels good to us,
100%.
is it? Yeah.
Okay, should we tangent off on AI for a minute? Ooh. This is a very controversial topic. I want to know if you've used AI in a session or as a tool for writing, and if so, how did you use it? Like Judith, for me. She's like, I'm not. I appreciate that.
I have not, but my husband has in our kitchen at dinner time, and we made a song for our daughter called Pupacana Madness. It slaps. It really slaps. So if you have a 6-year-old, it works. Otherwise, no, I'm good.
I haven't used it for songwriting, but I've used it for like, hey, tell me something ironic about the usage of the word mistress, and then it'll like tell me the history of, like, there's things that I'm learning, and it's cool. I've asked it to write my artist bio, stuff like that. But
Cool.
I haven't let it touch my writing yet, but I know there are writers who are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I want to tell you how I found it useful.
Yes.
Cool.
It's not writing your song. Again, it goes back to taste, right? Like even a robot is not you can't create taste in that way. Someone's gonna have to edit it and curate it, and like what you're saying. But I found that I'll be in a session, we'll have a chunk of the song written, we'll be stuck on a word, like I just need a verb that ends in on the topic of the, and I'll type that in. Can give me 20 verbs ending in ER on the topic of blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes one of those will work, a lot of times it won't, but then I'll have an idea from that, but then it's useful, and then we wrap it up in it. I could have done it, you could have done it, you could have done it, we could have done it, but that just saved us like 20 minutes,
Yeah, that's cool.
you know?
My partner always asks a question like, what do we lose in that efficiency?
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know if we lose anything. I just wonder,
Maybe
lose in that effort, that
Yeah.
calorie burning,
Yeah, that's interesting.
But also, on the contrary, like, isn't it kind of like another writer in the room?
In the room,
in some
yeah,
way?
yeah.
It's like another person that came up, which is, I don't know, is that bad?
But sometimes we use like Rhyme Zone.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's been tools over the years where we'll like Google, like if I'm stuck on a rhyme and like my brain's just not working, I have no shame in typing into Rhyme Zone
And-
what rhymes
yeah.
with, Penelope. And then like, a lot of times I really don't get a good answer, but like I've like relaxed on trying so hard to find it.
Yes.
And then I eventually find it. So I do feel like it's, there shouldn't really be a judgment on a process, because it's not technically what I find scary, and I can't really speak too much on it. I don't know that much about it, but I would just be, worried if like people were just verbatim copying from, kind of like if I was in high school and I was writing a paper, like how do you not use AI? Like if you're a kid, oh my God, that would be so hard not to be like, fuck, I'm not writing this 20-page paper. Anyway, thank God I'm not a kid. But for songwriting, like I feel like that's something we'd never do because we wouldn't even steal songs from our friends.
Right.
Like that's a big thing I think that's controversial in our industry, which is like when there's a lot of lawsuits. Like we were with a friend last night who was sued multiple times, and that's tricky because like how do you break bread with that person ever again if they've sued you for something you certainly didn't steal? You know what I mean? Like I find it really, I guess it's just complicated, But I definitely think that maybe I'm just thinking, naively, but I think like nobody sits in a room and is like, okay, let me steal this from this person and this from this. Like you're just sitting and all creating something. That still feels like the magic. And if you've got some tips and tricks, cool. But I feel like you still need to be very, like you said, like your skill level has to be enough to make it reflect you and who you are.
The only thing I could think of, just like from a culture point of view, is like people might not trust, they might not feel you, they might not trust that it's your heart. Like, when you see a picture, an image on Instagram, you're like, oh, that's AI. That's like happening so much where you see them like, that's not real. So then, do we as a culture, as a people, start to lose empathy or our own sensitivity or our own like connection to music in itself, because we're like, well, I know it took me this, it was very easy to write, and they're like, well, they're like, yeah, it's probably you didn't write it, so our emotional connection to that artwork, it might be an incredible song, but our emotional connection to it might be like a little skeptical. That's my just
feel
a
like,
thought.
No, I hear that.
But wait, I feel like the one person you can't lie to is the listener. Like I feel like the audience will know if your heart's not in it, right? Don't you feel like the songs that you connect the most with people are the ones that like you felt the most when you were writing them? Do you know what I mean? Like if at least I should speak for me. If I've written songs to put on an album to fill the space, like on my first album, there's like 3 songs I've never even played live because I just needed 12 songs. Those songs are not going to connect with somebody, and you know what I mean? They're going to know that it was like disingenuine. So I think I have faith in the people. I think I have faith in listeners and in the people that listen to music to know if our heart's in it. Like I think it'd be impossible to fully lie. I really do. I think we know too much now. Like we love authenticity and genuine. Like we really value the someone who's being really genuine and true. So I hope that also grows.
I think AI is probably going to be able to write a tearjerker.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but can it perform it? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, that's where the proof is in the pudding, no? I mean, if you, like, I think anyone can tell if you're making shit up.
I think it's a tool, just like Rhyme Zone, just like it's a tool, and it's there. So I think it's something worth exploring, the morality and the practicality of it.
I saw someone, a producer I'm working with, he took a song that he finished with another artist, and then he plugged it into, I forget which one of them, but he made 4 different genres of that song, so that the artist could reflect back and see, like, does this work this way? they were writing new melodies, they were new phrasings, like it was very sophisticated and good. Like I was
That
like,
scares me.
I was like, that's but I think what will happen is that we'll have a genre of AI music and that's totally celebrates it, explores it, and then
That's fair, yeah.
some people will do I'm AI free music that is like organic or non-organic food, like produce. Like it'll become like a thing.
Whoa.
That's trippy.
Whoa, I never thought about that.
Whoa, I want to be like the Whole Foods of music. I'm scared one over here. Yeah.
It's gonna cost more.
It's gonna cost way more for my organic
Yeah.
jams.
Oh, here's something that Autumn Rowe, I don't know if anyone knows Autumn Rowe, but
Yes.
Love her.
Shout out to Autumn Rowe.
Shout out to Autumn Rowe. She just had a baby named Ro. I'm so happy for her.
Oh, cute.
But Autumn said to me, she was like, AI is definitely here to stay, and that's why it's important for artists to have a perspective and a message.
Sure.
And,
We're all learning too in real time.
yeah, and she's like, those artists, the organic ones, will last. So it's kind of like, it kind of pushes us to just go better,
in.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to transition to the balance of personal family life and having a career. I feel like this is an important topic, whether or not you have children or not, or a dog or a partner, or you're trying to visit your mom sometimes and you're like, but I got a gig, so like, I want to know, how do you find the balance between your family, personal life, and career? And I'll let you segue into like motherhood also, because I would love to hear. I hear a lot of women in sessions. To me personally, I'm a mother. I have 2 kids. Thank you. And a lot of times when I'm in a session with other women who are younger than me, the first thing they say is like, I've never met a woman that does this and has kids. I've never met one. I didn't know that there was one. I'm like, well, obviously there's people, you know, like there's Carole King, there are people, right? But they don't know how it works. Like, how does it work? Is someone gonna take me seriously if I'm like, I gotta be out here by 6? Because I wanna put my kids to bed. And I don't wanna be here while everybody smokes weed in this room till 1 a.m. I'm trying to write a song and get the fuck out of here. Right?
Yeah.
So, I know that we don't all 4 on this stage have kids yet, but like, it is also a balance when you're like, I also have a relationship and I'm trying to make time for that. And culture tells us like, you've gotta pick one. Pick one, do the one. We'd rather you pick the one that's like, be a nice, pretty wife and just shut up over there. Go.
I'm a childless, not a childless cat lady, but I'm a childless turtle lady.
I love it.
And I love working with my friends who have children because I also want to get out of there at 6 p.m. And I also want to have my gummy and be in bed by 9:30 p.m. So, love it.
Find your people is what I got from that. Know your audience. Sometimes those sessions are like, yeah, do you want to write for like this artist? And we're gonna start at 8 p.m. And I'm like, oh, have a great time. I'm not the one. There's let me refer you to some other ones who are great. And I'm probably gonna refer you to a woman, but it's not me in this era. And it's not because I wanna miss out on those opportunities. It's just, I'm not as useful there. Like, that's not where I am gonna flourish. And so you're not gonna get something awesome out of me.
I love
at
that.
9 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm a sleeping girl.
You are. Go.
I was raised by musicians.
Yes.
So like, it was really cool to see my mom. She took me into the studio. She took me to the sound check. She didn't stop for me. Neither of them, my mom or my dad. Dad is a bass player, my mom is a keyboard player. And they were just guns blazing, and we would be at the studio. And I heard all the music, I kind of took it in, which is sort of what made me today. But my parents were very inspiring to me. I didn't feel like I missed out on anything or suffered at all because they worked so hard in the music industry. sometimes we have babysitters, but they took me everywhere, and you know, so I mean, I think there's so many different versions of it that can be done, but I know for me, I saw a very inspiring version of it.
Okay. Also, I just want to say that I saw her parents rip on stage with her, and it was the best show. I had such a great time. So yeah, you gotta see Judith live. Yeah.
I want to say that that's really inspiring to me personally, to see you as an adult woman and the product of you, that is this beautiful woman out in the world, like speaking your truth, and have come from that upbringing makes me like, okay, like my kids are gonna be all right, you know?
I agree with AIJIA. I also think it's really lovely because what I was going to say is like we are possibly the generation that is breaking the cycle. So I think that the reason why a lot of young songwriters like don't yet know maybe a young mom in the room is because we're just figuring it out. Like we're the first generation of them. It's like we do exist, you know, but like we're going to be the example to all these young people, being like that it's not even a weird thing. It's like, no, like, you know, I hope that we're teaching by being brave enough to make it work. Because the truth is, like, I was gonna say, you're asking, you know, us to say how we do it, and I was gonna be like, how do you do it? Am I doing it? Is this doing it? I don't know if I'm doing it. It's so hard. I mean, I speak just for having children and working. I'm learning in real time as I go. Every day is different. But I hope, like what you just said, it's hopeful to see a grown woman who had parents who loved what they did, were creative, kept it going. Because I do think to myself, like, I would love to just stay at home all day and, like, you know, I don't know, play with the girls. I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. But, like, I think it's really cool that they see that I'm working. Like, I think it's really cool. But my mom, when she worked, because my mom's a hairdresser, my dad was a barber, and they were always stressed out. So I saw my mom outwardly working, but like wishing she wasn't, or working and then like resentful that she wasn't at home. And so I got to see what I certainly like, love my mom and dad so much, but I got to see what I don't want to do. I'm still figuring out who I want to be as a mom, a creative mom and a working mom, and you know, an artist and a writer. But I think like number one is just showing up and working and like doing what I love, because that's like, you don't even have to say this shit to your kid, they get it. You know, they know for sure when you're in your truth, when you're in your power, when you're your best version of you. You know, like, I feel like if I go too long without sitting at the piano and singing, like, I'm pretty cranky. You know, like, I'm a better mom if I'm creating. I'm a better wife if I'm hanging out with some of my musician friends, or if I'm creating and continuing. So it's really like, it's almost like balancing. I'd like for the narrative to move away from like, how do you balance your children and be a movie star? You know, whatever they say, like on the red carpet. It's like, cool, like I'd love for that not to be a question. It's like, how do you eat well, you know? Like I do, I just do my best, you know, I'm just trying to eat organic, whatever. It's like I bring my kids and I do the best I can. Like I hope it's going in that direction where it's not this or that. And also I wanna say, making the room and giving yourself the gentleness to take your time going back to work. I know people that like feel like they have to. I know people that feel like they need to. And I was somewhere in the middle. I was like, I want to spend more time not performing. You know, like, so I like really took my time and gave myself the room to evolve and be like, you know, a mother with an infant, a mother with a toddler, a mother, you know, and then go through my journey out loud and authentically and share about it and whatever. And I also think that helps. I think like pretending you're not a mom, like defeats the whole purpose.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's there's another amazing writer, singer named Allison Porter. And something that she told me before I was a mom, that was a really meaningful piece of advice. Was that when she would go into these rooms where, you know, there's like an opportunity that could happen. Like, we could write a hit. I'm working with this big producer. I'm in a room that we're gonna write for this film, and it like could be something. She said before she had kids, there was a desperateness of need for it to work. I'm going in, I need it to work. I need this thing. I want this thing, I want, and that is an energy that comes out and people feel that energy. She's like, when I had my kids, like, I am the shit. I have made people, these eyeballs came out of me. I don't need you. What do I need you for? I'm happy to be in your space, but she's like, I go home and my job on this planet is those kids. I'm here to like fulfill a dream and be the muse and whatever, sure, I have a good voice. This is what she said to me. But she's like, my kids are my purpose. So she's like, I enter those rooms now with a calm and a self-knowledge that I didn't have before. Man, hearing her say that to me was like, all right, I'm ready to get knocked up tomorrow. I'm ready, let's do this. No, it really was, because it gave me permission, right?
Yeah.
It gave me permission to not make my dream or my career or my thing my only thing, right? I'm a whole being. I have a career, I have a partner, I have kids, I have my first family that I want to see.
You're learning French.
I'm taking a French class. I'm doing all these things. I'm a whole person, right? If you're only getting better in this one area, you're gonna be really sad in 30 years because all your other areas have been neglected. Like you gotta feed that one a little, and sometimes you gotta go feed your cousins over there because your cousins had a wedding and you gotta go love them because, you know what I mean? You gotta feed all these different worlds that you've created so that you can be a whole person and then bring that whole person into the session and write a banger because you were there, because you had a Diet Coke and it was a Tuesday.
Yes.
Right? All right. You have something else to say.
There's also like, I feel like it's such a wonderful time because I think there's more space. I mean, for where we live, it's not like this in many countries, but we can choose the path and how we want to channel our creative maternal energies. Shungudzo is this amazing artist, and she has an album titled I Am Not a Mother, But I Have Children. And that is such a mantra that goes on in my mind because, you know, Natasha Bedingfield and I wrote a song called Your Child, My Child, and she has a child and I don't, but man, these are all our children. And there's something really potent about being 38, being a woman, not having children, having so much passion for the wellness of our children. There's something really potent that balances like the webs of all different types of people with wombs who choose what they choose, you know? Yeah.
I appreciate you. I like how we're just shouting out all the other amazing writers. They're like, do you know Natasha? Do you know this person? Do you know? Look them up. Can we just make some noise for these four, these three beautiful women? I gotta say, I want to do this every night. You guys, same place tomorrow night. Everyone wear your jammies. It's gonna be fun. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna do some music, so get a drink, get some food.